a fangirl, a squad of hamsters, and Batman? We're going to talk about all that and more on today's reaction and review of MarriageToxin, Episode 8. Yo, what's up? Welcome back. Welcome to News. My name is Mark, and today we're talking about MarriageToxin, Episode 8. For a fantastic episode, and if you want to see my reaction to it, you can check it out on Patreon, link in the description down below, and the pinned comment. Go check out the reaction, then come back here and enjoy the review. And also, while you're down there, make sure to like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hype the video in the YouTube mobile app, helps me out a lot. All the support always helps me out. And yeah, this really was a great episode, and as always, I took a lot of notes. I've got like 2 or 3 pages of notes to talk about, and so that's gonna be fun. And as always, if you're new here, strap in. If you've been here before, you know what to do. Grab your snacks, grab your drinks, grab your notebooks, and let's talk about the episode. So, this episode starts out with an arcade date training for Geto. Kinosaki is really good at crane games, is something that we learn. And Geto, this is all new for him, and so they're like going through it, learning and everything. Like teaching, Kinosaki's teaching Geto about an arcade date and how it all works. I call it arcade date training, but I think they're kind of on a date. It feels kind of like it until they're interrupted, but that's not immediately here. So we also learn that Geto, he's bad at crane games, bro, but he is very, very good at the mallet game. Whack-a-mole. Yeah, whack-a-mole, that's what it's called. He's very good at whack-a-mole, which is not surprising, actually, because that just requires speed, strength, and reaction time, which he's very good at that, so it makes sense. And so, meanwhile, they go in to get like their photos taken and stuff in like a booth, and that's when we start learning about the Hitman Hunter. That's the name they gave him, whose skills are the real deal. He's taken out quite a few people, including the Dismemberment Master guy. I think he was Dismemberment something. And then the Spear Master. And Geto says that the Hitman Hunter skills are the real deal, which is cool. That's always good that they're the real deal, man. And as they leave, we get to see Geto learn something from Kinosaki about how dates should go, especially like in an arcade. About how it's fine to do something you like, but also make sure you do something that the other person enjoys as well, to make sure that they know that you're interested and like that it's not just all about you. Because a date should be 50-50. That's like he didn't say that, but that's what I think. A date should be 50-50, obviously. Splitting the check, 50-50. Where you go, 50-50, make sure you both enjoy it, sort of thing, if possible. Sometimes it might be a little hard, depending on like the type of person you are and all that, but anyways, that's not important. Geto learned something new about that, but then they're interrupted by a pink-haired woman who wants to speak to Geto. But before that, she gets a picture with Geto, because I didn't know why at the time, but we find out pretty quickly why. But I will say, I can admit when I am wrong. Genuinely, I can admit when I'm wrong. I initially assumed that she was the girl talking to the Hitman Hunter who we saw last episode at the end there, like they got the girl over the phone, or yeah, over the earpiece and all that. I genuinely thought that was her for a hot minute, but turns out she's not. Her name is Kimie Arashiyama. Kimie Arashiyama. I like to think I'm pretty good at pronouncing Japanese names at this point, but some of them do give me a run for my money. Arashiyama. I think that's probably close enough. Turns out she wants to I'm gonna skip the comedy bits because they were pretty funny to an extent. But the comedy bits were very much her being like, oh, because like she's so perfect, beautiful, stuff like that, I guess. And like, Kinosaki and Geto walking away because they have better things to do. But the point of the whole meeting is that she wants to hire Geto to protect her until the Hitman Hunter is taken care of and stopped, because he's going around killing people, including, and she's like her next on the list. And so that's pretty cool that she wants to hire Ghetto, I guess. But yeah, I also will say I didn't trust her when we first met her, honestly, and it's not just because I thought she was like with the Hunter, the Hitman Hunter. I just, there was just something off about her originally. There is still something slightly off about her, but by the end of the episode, my distrust of her is pretty much gone at this point. And so, moving on, Arashiyama is the hamster master, and I kid you not, I spent in the reaction itself, I spent a solid minute looking at the camera, the screen and the camera, and just going back and forth. Like, I mean, like, I just kept going back and forth because I was so, of all the things I expected, it was not a hamster master. And I genuinely was like stun locked from that, which was hilarious. Turns out she's a part of the Beast Clan. Technically, like her family's connected to the, like her family's like a extension of all sorts to the Beast Clan, which is one of the 5 great families, which is cool. And she wanted to hire him. She has a hamster named Sirius, who's adorable. Sirius the hamster, adorable. Love Sirius. I was still like, of all the things to expect, it was not hamster master. That's just like, it's. I'm getting speechless again thinking about it, man. Even now. But, anyways, moving on from that, turns out Arashiyama is a fangirl of Ghetto, and like is head over heels for him. At least that's the vibe I got. At least the fangirl part, I got that vibe with how she was like, because like she was she didn't believe that he'd hire her, that he'd like accept the job because she can't afford him and all that. She was prepared to leave, or Ghetto was prepared to leave, or someone was prepared to leave. But then Ghetto's like, yo, I'll do it. You're in trouble. Might as well. And the way she talked about him afterwards, it reads like a fangirl. And that's, so I'm assuming she's a fangirl who's also head over heels for him. And so, yeah. Also, turns out, her group that she's associated with, the association or whatever, is fired up about facing the Hitman Hunter. That's why she's going to Ghetto and not to like the rest of the clan to ask for help, because they don't care about her, which I mean that sucks, because they called her useless and said to just be a shield. That's all she's good for essentially, which that's mean. Didn't have to be that mean, man. I also asked the question that would later be answered: are there different masters for each animal? And then I followed up the question with, how many, well actually I didn't follow this question up, I followed a different question, but the question I do want to ask now: how many animals are there masters for? Are there masters for what? Is it like based on literal different types of animals? Or like cat master, for example, does that encompass lions and tigers and panthers and stuff? Or is it literally like panther master, lion master, stuff like that? And is it for every single animal or just certain ones? Because of all the like, and the reason I ask that is I don't think it's always for combat and animals that could be good for combat, because they're hamsters. Hamsters, they're good at infiltration, for her at least, but like they're not good at combat. I mean, if enough of them ganged up on you, they could probably do some damage, if we're being honest here. But like, the point is, how many masters are there for each animal? And is there someone that's a master of multiple animals, or just like a specific type, like lions, for example, as I said? The other question I asked is, I can remember what it was. Yeah, I forgot what I asked. Doesn't matter right now. I might think of it again. But we also learn that the reason she's useless now is because her bloodline thinned out. Because her clan used to be rat masters. Now it's hamsters, apparently, I guess. And but their bloodline started thinning out, and she could lose, and they could lose their title any day as masters, like the rat hamster masters or whatever. And when they were the rat masters, the main clan even respected them, which is like, that's probably a big deal. Is there anything else to talk about on this page? I have a lot of notes to talk about, but I don't want to be here for all day. So we're going to move on. So now we are going to meet the association of Beastmasters and stuff. I also wrote down that her laugh is infectious, because like her laugh is like a boisterous, upbeat, loud laugh. And it's honestly, like, it made me happy to hear it, which is cool. So we get to meet the Serpent Master, the Owl Master, the Hippo Master, the Orca Master, the Buffalo Master, and the Alligator Master. Or we were supposed to. But each time we got told who the Master was, we saw a corpse. They all died, unfortunately, so I had to cross them out. Once I saw them start popping up on screen dead, I almost didn't write it, but then I wrote it out for the bit to just be like, oh, as I just had to cross them all off once we saw them. Because, like, it was funny at the time. And, I threw out the theory. Now, hear me out. I threw out the theory that now that all of these ones are dead, can she, like, inherit their abilities of sorts to, like, control the other animals? Become, like, the ultimate Beastmaster or something? That's probably in the realm of possibility. But doesn't matter at this point. We have more to talk about. So, moving on. We get to meet the Hitman Hunter. He shows up there. He killed them all, except for the animals. We're going to get to that later. But this Hitman Hunter, he's very, very fast. So fast, in fact, that he stabbed Gero. Like, and according to Gero, he barely avoided a fatal cut. Which, that tells you how fast he is, bro. And we were wondering what clan he's a part of. We're going to get to that too. But he's very fast. And he's superhuman. He holds a giant metal sign with ease. And also, Gero gets very serious. Like, he doesn't get serious like this serious often, but he got serious, bro. When he told Kinosaki and Arashiyama to run, like, he was serious, bro. And then he decides he has to go all out. He uses 2 doses. Toxin Vision, and then Toxin Javelin Strike. I did not write those down. I only know them from memory. I was like, there was like a 50-50 chance I remember what they were called. But he became very strong. Very, very strong. But and he clobbered the Hitman Hunter. Unfortunately, it was not enough, my guy. Dude, he was honestly kind of scary. Like, all that, and then the Hitman Hunter, who I think was scary. He casually grabs onto like a ledge, crushes it as he's climbing up, and like he's also on the phone, uncertain about Gero being the master, the poison master, because he's surprised that he's taking hitman jobs, like bodyguard jobs. I mean, not hitman jobs, and like all that. And we get to see that he hasn't had a scratch, man, and we get to see him be very fast. And he cuts a corner of the building off with a little tiny knife. And then I wrote down next to that, imagine if he had a sword. And then I was like, would his skills with a knife at this point transfer over to a sword? Maybe. I don't know if it like purely is relying on speed or if there's more to it. So that'll be a question as well. Moving on. This animation is popping off. Like, dude, it looks so good. At one time, there was even like, at least the one time that I saw it, there was like a black outline of the characters, or at least of the Hitman Hunter. And realistically, it's not a big deal, but it just looks so clean, so sharp with the outline on him that like it just looked really good for the animation, bro. And despite everything he does, he also makes sure that the animals are okay. Surprisingly, he didn't hurt any of the animals. And when Gero's like, "Yo, you didn't hurt you're pretty nice to the animals," he's like, "They didn't do anything wrong." Essentially, he explains. And I then wrote down something interesting that I picked up, because he doesn't seem to like enjoy this. He seems to do this because he wants to get it done. And so I asked the question of if he's a good guy killing bad guys, or not even quotation marks, like Ghetto and them are kind of bad guys if we're being completely honest here. But also he could. I guess the question now becomes good and bad. What's the actual difference between the two? Like, are you like is a soldier in the military a bad guy because he kills people on the battlefield, compared to like a regular dude killing people? Would they both be bad guys, or would the soldier be a good guy because he's doing it for the country to protect people, sort of thing? Like, there's nuance to good and bad, and I'm not gonna get into this right this second, but Ghetto's like, "Yo, what family you from? The Iron Clan?" But then but then I kid you not, the guy's just like, "I'm just a regular dude. I'm not from a family." And Ghetto doesn't believe him because, have you seen what he can do? I wouldn't believe him either. But then guy follows up with that he doesn't need to lie to the guy he's about to kill. And he's not wrong. That is kind of true. He has no reason to lie to a guy who he believes is about to die. And also, all his relatives are teachers. That's cool. This guy seems like a decent guy, and we'll get to more on him in a little bit. But in the meantime, Ghetto's like, "Oh, this guy's a mutant." And basically, he doesn't really explain what mutants are, I assume when he said he's a mutant, that was like an actual classification of something, like an actual group type of person. I don't know if that's actually the case or not, but from what I gathered, based on the very little information we got about mutants, mutants are just regular people who are like extraordinary. And according to Ghetto, who would know what he's talking about, this guy, the Hitman Hunter, I keep almost wanting to say Hunter Hitman, or Hunter Killer, but no, Hitman Hunter, he surpassed the masters of all those bloodlines who have like grown and practiced their bloodlines for generations. He surpassed them in one generation. And coming from Ghetto, who's a poison master, that's gotta mean that's a big deal. So, yeah. And I also wrote down that because I noticed this when they were talking, as he was like having this inner monologue about the mutants, not mountains, mutants. The Hitman Hunter was like, "Yo, can we hurry this along? I have a lunch plans with my girlfriend." Like, he doesn't seem to enjoy this. He just getting his job done, essentially. And like, yeah, I get it. But like, also, come on, you can take this a little more seriously, but also, Ghetto's on the verge of dying, so I mean, fair enough if you don't want to take it completely seriously. But anyways, moving on again. Ghetto decides he has to do something that he's never tried before. He triple doses. Toxin triple dose. And it's supposed to make him really, really strong. Unfortunately, it doesn't make him really, really strong. It makes him really, really weak now. Because he realizes that this is more than he can take while he's injured. And yeah, I'm not surprised, bro. He can only push his body so much before it gives out. Like it kind of did give out, man. He just blood exploded out of his ears and mouth, and he just dropped, dude. And the hunter killer guy starts walking towards Ghetto, and he's like, "Yo, this is your fault for killing lots of people and spreading hatred." And that further cemented my whole theory about if he's like a good guy killing bad guys. Like, he kills people who are spreading hatred and killing other people, which Okay, random thought now. A little bit of a moral question. Is the death penalty would the death penalty be a good thing? If it so the death penalty, it's a thing. It's not a person, obviously. But is the death penalty a good or bad thing? That's a question that's always been asked by a lot of people. But could hear me out? Could the hunter killer? It's hunter killer rolls off the tongue so much better than hitman hunter. Could the hitman hunter be basically the walking personification of the death penalty? And he only kills those who kill other people. Would that make him justified? Would that make him justice itself? In a sense. If you support the death penalty, I don't personally support the death penalty. I think that lets people off too easily, but that's a different conversation for a very different time. But if the death penalty is okay, then this guy should be okay as well, right? If he's only killing people who are like guaranteed to have been killed lots of people and spread hatred. And the spreading hatred part is interesting because it is true. When you, I don't mean you specifically, but when someone kills someone, that someone that gets killed, if they have family, their family members are gonna be upset, sad, probably angry, hate whoever killed them, and that hatred will fester and spread to their friends and family over time, maybe, and it'll just keep spreading and spreading for generations and so on. And so, when he talks about spreading hatred, that does make sense. And I did not think I'd be getting into like a moral discussion this time around, but here I am. Anyways, we're gonna move on because we are going on 22 minutes already, bro. And so, as he's about to kill him, Arashiyama jumps in there and basically says, "Geto helped me. He protected me. He chose to be my bodyguard." She basically glazes him and defends him and says that she won't let him kill her fave. And yeah, and then she does the one move that actually broke me. Serious squad. And it was a squad of hamsters. I kid you not. I saw that. I started laughing. I paused the video, and I was still laughing on the reaction. And then I just break down, and I go off screen. That's how much I go. I kid you not. I laughed so much, bro. That I might unironically take that clip and just convert it into make it a YouTube short, man. That clip of just me breaking down laughing. It was so funny, bro. But anyways, that broke me down laughing, and I almost called her serious. Arashiyama definitely is growing on me. She's definitely she's a fun character, honestly. And the serious squad didn't do much, unfortunately. It was funny though, and it did help stop the guy from killing Geto. And he decides he's going to take Geto to a doctor instead. Because, and I quote, "I've never seen masters cover for each other." And that's pretty cool. And so he doesn't want to kill Geto anymore. That's his reason for letting Geto live. And then I also wrote down, besides, even if he lets him live now, he basically killed Geto once. He could probably kill him again. If we're being completely honest here, Geto's only alive at this guy's mercy. Genuinely, he could just kill him anytime he wants at this point. In the future, Geto might get stronger, but so might this guy. And so, moving on from that, we finally learn his name. Piichi Nakagawa. And his goal is to wipe out the Beast Clan of the 5 great families. And side note, Geto, bro, I almost rage quit the episode. Genuinely, I was thinking about it. I heard a bird outside my house. I almost rage quit the episode at how lucky Gyaro was that he got to lay his head on Kinosaki's lap, bro. He was so lucky. I'd kill to be able to do that, man. Gyaro's so lucky, man. But I persevered. I pushed through, despite how jealous I was of Gyaro. And so, Peachy, he wants to wipe out the Beast Clan of the 5 great families, the whole Beast Clan, because he heard a rumor that they were planning something super dangerous that would kill a lot of people, aka he heard they were planning a mass casualty event of some kind. I didn't write down everything they said, I just simplified it to a mass casualty event because basically the same thing at this point. And so, moving on, the people that he's killed so far, turns out, he just happened to kill them on his way to the Beast Clan. And because like he'd go on his way, he'd ask about how to find them, to get to them, and each time he'd run into people that are dangerous, and he basically would kill the dangerous ones on the way to the Beast Clan. And so, at first I was like convinced for a brief moment that he was like acting in some way. He wasn't completely serious, like he was just like hiding his motives. But I genuinely am starting to believe that he's actually just a genuinely decent guy. Unironically, he kind of strikes me as more of a vigilante. But, moving on again, we have, where are we? We learn that he wants to kill all the dangerous people because he wants to open a cafe with his girlfriend, which is honestly very sweet. And like, yeah, that's fair, honestly, wanting to open a cafe. But he has to get rid of all the dangerous people first, or else the customers will never be able to rest easy. And honestly, that's commendable. And Gyaro was like, yo, that normally would be wishful thinking, but this guy, he might be able to pull it off. And honestly, yeah. And honestly, I'm kind of rooting for him. I'm kind of rooting for Peachy. Because I don't, obviously, in real life, I wouldn't condone what he does. Probably. But, in the context of the story, he's the lesser of two evils if he's actually evil. Like, yeah, like, between letting him do that and letting just, like, them all run free, I'd probably pick him over them. And he also agrees that Gyaro is different. And currently he says that Gyaro is not a threat to the world that he wants. At least not for now. And honestly, valid. Let's see, anything else? Oh, yep. One more thing. As Arashiyama is like, yo, so this is all done, we're all good. Unfortunately, we're not all good. Because the collar that she's wearing, it was given to her by like the Beast Clan for some reason. It was turns out it's kind of a trap, in that it's going to kill her in 3 to 5 days. It's a snake, a Bonda constrictor, and that if it's broken, all blood will be sucked dry. And it's by a guy who has bats, so I called him Batman, cause it's good clickbait in the beginning, even though he's probably the Bat Master actually. Like, I clickbaited it with the opening because technically he could be Batman in another life. And so Gyaro's not happy, and Peachy probably isn't happy either. And so the guy, Batman, is like, yo, I'll invite you straight to my home turf. You two have a free invitation to the Beast Clan home turf, the Dogo Animal Kingdom. Peachy and Sarah were invited, and I assume Kinosaki is going to stay behind and make sure Arashiyama's okay. Which, that makes sense. And with that said, that is everything I wanted to talk about for this episode. It was really good. I honestly enjoyed this a lot, bro. I'd almost say I enjoyed this way more than a lot of the other episodes. And I don't quite know why. This just felt more... I know what it is. This felt more plot relevant. Well, last episode was really good, don't get me wrong. I loved last episode with the Bugmaster's wedding and all that. and that was pretty also good plot relevant. But this episode felt especially plot relevant, and so I think that's probably why I really liked it as much as I did. So, this might honestly be in my top 3. Might even be top 2. I'm torn. The episode that we first meet Kinosaki and get to learn that he's a femboy, that's number 1 episode for me. So this might be second place. But anyways, I am gonna wrap it up here. Again, you can check out the reaction down below if you haven't already. It's on Patreon. You can become a member, get a shout out at the beginning of the video, and you can check out the reaction. If you want to, I highly recommend you check out the reaction because it's like really funny. And yeah. Let's see. Am I thinking of anything else? Like the video, subscribe, ding that notification bell. Hide the video in the YouTube mobile app, as I always say, because it does help out a lot. And yeah, I think that's it. So, with that said, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, my name is Mark. Never stop being yourself, stay safe there, and I see all you incredible people in the next video.